you a little bit tired of Moonblade Dana's Moonlight Greatswords? To be honest, I am not. But there are so many different weapons in Elden Ring, so many interesting combinations that you can make. So, I never been seeing that much love for Loretta's. And yeah, well, basically today we're going to make a Loretta's kind of cosplay. It is not broken, it is not as amazing as something else, so, but it is viable. At the end of the day, sorceries are the easy mode of this game, so you do have to have that in mind. So basically, let's talk about the weapon itself, which is the main sweet spot of the build, which is the Loretta's Warsickle. Let's talk about the things that I like about the weapon. The first thing that I like about the weapon is the weapon art. It got buffed. So one thing you do need to have in mind is that while you're in the air, it does not matter what comes to you, you cannot get interrupted. You have infinite hyper armor while you're in the air. And the amount of damage on the poise posture that you're dealing to the enemies, it's just amazing. This thing builds the poise damage onto the enemies amazingly good. It was also buffed on patch 107, so basically when you're out exploring the world, when you are fighting bosses, I would advise for you to use more your resources, your mimictia, your spells, so on and so forth. But when you're fighting basic enemies, just use the Loretta's Warsickle and you're good to go. For the strongest enemies, the bigger ones that cannot be staggered by regular basic attacks, you have the Loretta's Slash, which is the weapon ash of the weapon skill. And basically, what it does is that it's always going to stagger enemies. It's guaranteed. As you can see in the footage that I am showing you on screen right now, you are always going to be staggering enemies with this thing. It's guaranteed. It's that powerful, it's that strong. If you use it against bosses, you're going to build that meter really damn fast as well. It's not going to interrupt them, it's not going to stagger them, but it is going to build that meter for you to get a guaranteed critical hit on them, a riposte attack on the enemy. Now, the other thing that I like about it is a halberd. Now, heavy halberds are naturally heavy weapons. This one is really the moveset, the attack moveset, as you can see on screen right now. It's actually quite fast. It is amazing. So it does not bounces back on shields, and also more than that, it deals really nice damage. It is really fast attacking. Now, what is that I do not like about the weapon? Because there are contras as well. There are cons about the weapon. The spread of build. It's a good weapon if you're planning to spend tons and tons and tons of stats. But I can definitely tell you, if you want to spend tons and tons and tons of stats, there are definitely better weapons that are going to be achieving much more damage than this one. This is not a specialized intelligence weapon. It's a quality weapon. And it's a quality weapon that has scaling on strength, dexterity, and intelligence. For the purpose of this build, we're going to be focusing ourselves solely on an intelligence build, a mage build. Damage of the thing, it actually is quite nice. It is quite high, so it will carry you through most situations. You do need to have in mind as well that this footage is from New Game Plus 7, so if you're going through your regular playthrough, your regular playthrough of your game, it really shouldn't give you that much problems to go through the basic playthrough. If you're planning on a new Game Plus playthrough or just a regular one, at the end of the day, it is magic, dude. What can I say? It is still absurdly strong. Now, as you can see me, let's talk about the stats. 80 intelligence, we have soft cap for intelligence. You do need to have quite a lot of mind, so that is why we have so little of bigger. Most of the cases I advise for you to have it as much bigger as possible, but in this case it is not possible. To be able to use the equipment that I am using, you do not necessarily need to have something specific. for this build. You can definitely use whatever armor that you would like to use, but Loretta's Warsickle, it's actually quite heavy, so you are kind of limited towards what you can actually take, what you can actually use. So this is a min-max build. This is the stamina that you need to be able to use the weapon that I am using, the armor that I am using, the shield that I am using. So if you want to use the very same mimic equipment that I am using, you don't need to have that stamina. But if you don't, then it is not necessary for you to literally copy this thing. What you do need to have in mind is that you're going to be using quite a lot of mines for this build, and you're going to be using quite a lot of intelligence. So we do have the 80 soft cap on intelligence, as much mind as possible. And since at the end of the day we do have spells, so we do have range, you are not going to be that close in the face of the enemy that often. So it isn't really that big of a deal if you do not have that much health. You have your mimic tier, you have your spells, you have your range, you have the hyper armor for Loretta's Warsickle. So it really, this is just amazing. Now let's go through the equipment that we have. So these are the weapons that I am using. We are using this specific staff, which is the I know that we are using, just little parenthesis in here, you have 80 intelligence, right? You see me using just Loretta's spells, but you do not have to. Like, this was for the purpose of the build. It functions. I am using it and it works, but do have in mind that you have more spells at hand. Sorceries are very strong, and if you want to use more sorceries than the ones that I am using on this showcase, I advise you to do so. At the end of the day, they are going to be insanely strong, any kind of sorcery that you use with this build, because this sorcery staff, it's just hands down the strongest one that you can get at 80 intelligence, which is the Renalis one. So basically, with these stats that we have right here, this is the best staff that you can possibly use. Now, on the equipment, on the gear, for a full cosplay for Loretta's, we could be using definitely her armor or his armor, not entirely sure about that. But at the end of the day, it really is, I do not like it. And we are a squire, we are Loretta's squire, we are using a Knight of the Cuckoo's armor, so that is what it is. I do like the aesthetics, the blue aesthetics of the Carian Knight that uses Loretta's spells. As a cosplay build, it's amazing. As a versatility build, it's amazing. Efficiency, it's really strong, really damaging, covers everything, damage, defense, range. It has basically everything in your favor. Now when it comes to the talismans, we are using Shadow of Alexander because we are using Loretta's Warsickle. We are using you could change the Carian crest, the one that lowers FP for Godfrey Icon. The spell that we use with this build, which is the Loretta's one, it is a charge spell, although I do not like to use it that much, that often, unless I am fighting a very stationary enemy, because they move quite a lot, and it is hard for you to manage to land all of the hits. If you land them all, it's really deadly, it's really high damaging, but there are way better spells out there than this one. And now, those are the main things. You do want to use the one that boosts your intelligence sorceries as much as possible. And when it comes to the Flask of Wondrous Physiques, you know, there's a crystal Tia that stops the usage of FP for 1 minute. That's highly advisable. I do not use that much because I like stamina. I consume stamina like a maniac, so I always use my Green Burst Crystal Tia, but you definitely want to use the Magic Crack Shout Crystal Tia. Definitely. to increase your magic damage. It's going to increase the Ash of War damage, it's going to increase the spell damage, it's going to basically all you have in this build is magic damage. So that is going to be hugely increased by that as well. We're using Radagon icon as well to decrease the casting speed. Remember, just to wrap up, remember, I'm using these specific spells solely because it's kind of like the cosplay theme for the build. But with this build right here, right now, if you mix up with some other very strong spells, it's really broken. Sorceries are really broken, sorceries are really amazing, and you have a base for a build right here for a strong mage that is going to melt down everything. If you like the information, if you like the video is super appreciated, and if you are not subscribed yet to the channel, then what are you waiting for? Remember that no one has told you today that you're a gorgeous and beautiful person. You are indeed a gorgeous and beautiful person. Have a beautiful day, and I'll be seeing you goddamn gorgeous and beautiful people in the next one. Goodbye.